also the fiber company. So based on this policy, you can see that the new operators can come and also lease our facility to provide a service to the end user also. And also we are preparing the platform for the digital TV, which is going to happen in Thailand in the next year, using our facility. So this is the picture that I think many people describe about the population, the subscribers of all neighboring countries. So you can see that Thailand have quite large number of population and also high penetration of the mobile subscribers. But we still see the incremental in the data mobile broadband mobile usage in the last year and also the year forward. That's why we have prepared the capacity on our internet gateway, in which that we forecast as a double in the next year. This is some neighboring network that we have. It's under the project called Greater Mekong Sub-Region, GMS project. So we have the connectivity to all the neighboring countries to the terrestrial network, in addition to the submarine cable system that I just described before. So this is all about Thailand and the telecommunication service industry in Thailand and our company. Thank you.
Thanks, Dr. Danan. So we have our final presentation, after which perhaps if you could keep it to 5 minutes, and then that will allow us a little bit of time to explore a few of the issues. And please, if there are questions, get in very quickly, because we'll be very short of time by the end. Thanks. This is Sai Sona Samapagom from Sky.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much, Capacity Asia, that give me a chance again to be here and presentation LAOS National Transmission Network. And the presentation almost the same as last year. A brief introduction to Laos. Laos is a landlocked country, no access to the sea, and in the middle of Southeast Asia, sharing the border with China, Thailand, Myanmar, Cambodia, and Vietnam. This Laos National Transmission Network background. Laos National Transmission Network established at the central telecommunication and information infrastructure in order to develop and promote ICT sector in Laos. We aim to provide the service to the government, public, and interconnect with neighboring countries. 2008 to 2011, Laos National Transmission Network was project phase 1 was complete. 34 nodes covering 9 provinces like Vientiane, Bori Kamsai, Kamuan, Savanakhet, Champasak, Lopabang, and Senyabeli, and Udomsai. About 1,007 kilometers of buried optical fiber network was built. And from 2012 up to now, Laos National Transmission Networks project phase 2 is under construction and will be finished by 2015. 39 nodes will be built to cover the remaining provinces like Pungsali, Lopabang, Bokeo, Siangkuang, Samnia, Savanak, Salawan, Sekong, and Atapuli. About 2,400 kilometers of buried optical fiber network will be built. This is the topology. there are two nodes, two links in the north and 3 links in the south to make the network secure and stable. And we also have the cross-border interconnection point. Like China, we have 2. Vietnam, we have 2. And Myanmar, we have 2. Thailand, we have 5. Cambodia, we have 2. And what we have done recently, we have connected with Cap Telecom 2 points, one at the Friendship 1 and another at the Friendship Bridge 2. And also, we just maybe last 2 months, we have connected to only 1 point at Friendship Bridge 1. And we also have interconnect with VDC 2 points at Napao and at Labao. And we also interconnect, we connect with NTT, but cross Vietnam to Hong Kong. And in the near future, we are planning to interconnect with China, and we also looking for a new cooperation with another carriers. That's the end of my presentation. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that very succinct presentation. So hopefully we can have a little bit of discussion. I'd just like to kick it off by saying that going around this region and having covered it for some years, actually back in the 80s and now more recently the last few years, what's really striking is that there's very few regions in the world that seem to have this concentration of countries with such discrepancies in their levels of telecommunications development. So the extremes, I would say, would be Myanmar, completely closed and underdeveloped up to recently and now rapidly opening, and Cambodia, where you've got this insane competition going on, and it's become so cutthroat that anyone who's visited Phnom Penh, for example, you can see you're deluged with offers to, carriers undercutting each other and ISPs offering all kinds of things. So I was wondering if the panellists could maybe address this issue of this extreme unequal levels of competition, how that does affect this notion of trying to achieve a level playing field, and also really what the impact of something like AEC is likely to be on this sort of very uneven development and access issues for regional and outside the region players. I thought maybe we could put this question to the two of you who represent the extreme. So maybe Paul, you can look at it from a Myanmar point of view, and Kelvin from the Cambodian point of view.
From a Myanmar point of view, we've been a little bit lacking in development for a few years now, right?
That's a bit of an understatement.
Of course. I don't know, uneven development throughout the region. I don't know if I want to address that, because I don't really know what's going on in Thailand or whatever. But in Myanmar, the uneven development is between the urban and the rural areas. The problem that we have is the lack of infrastructure, and we need to build infrastructure.
Could I just interrupt there briefly? That earlier this year there was I've never seen anything like it for more than a month because of some broken cable. As you well know, we couldn't get internet in Myanmar for nearly a month, or at least it would take half an hour to open one email, which is crippling for business. How could it be so vulnerable?
We are heavily dependent on CME3, and that's the most unreliable communication system in the world. So that's the problem. When that cuts, everything stops. So it almost grinds to a halt.
So you're saying the whole country basically depends on one cable?
We've got cables through China, through Thailand, through India, but the capacity is limited. So what you end up is everyone's trying to get forced through a small pipe rather than the fat pipe. So we need to get access to more cables, but that's external capacity. But we've got to get people access to that internally, and that's the problem we have, because the cost of a network rollout, we've pretty much got to develop the whole backbone as well as the access network, and the ARPUs are going to be extremely low.
Yes, so you were saying this will force a lot more sharing than maybe in a comparable situation elsewhere.
Well, last year there was presentations from the Ministry of Communications, and they were talking about mandating infrastructure sharing, but I don't think it's actually going to happen in the regulations. They're going to make it optional. And what we'll find is that the operators, definitely the foreign operators, who will come in, will focus on the white area of the map, where the population is. And that's just going to expand the digital divide, because this is where people have the money, that's where they invest, they get their money back quickly. And the remote areas, they're going to be left behind.
But surely those contracts brought service obligations. They've actually undertaken and committed to provide 85% penetration coverage, geographic, I think, as well as.
Yeah, there's obligations, but the CFO of these operators will override anything, in my opinion.
Oh, you're saying
if the market's not there and if it's unstable, they need to share the infrastructure. We're sort of hearing that maybe there's discussions going on about that, but we're also hearing that maybe they're broken down. So we might end up having parallel infrastructures, which is, we're not learning from the mistakes of others. We're not learning about the Cambodia model, what happened. We talk and we see, but when we implement, it's not happening and it should happen.
Well, that's interesting. Maybe it reinforces your point, or one of you said that you need very strong regulatory hand here to make sure that the operators live up to that.
Regulation is a double-edged sword here. I think we need strong regulations on the infrastructure side, but when it comes to services, make it really loose. Like if we want to, for example, if 3 or 4 operators are rolling out their own infrastructure, then it's just obvious that if they join together, we could do 4 times as much. So we could hit our targets much better. Right? So there needs to be a regulator that takes control.
And also maybe it's a bit up to industry itself to be open to these.
I don't know. If you leave it up to the industry or the market, then we all know what will happen, right? They'll focus where the money is. And in Myanmar, the government, as I said, they want to stabilise the whole country. They have to go to the remote areas where people don't have money. But the foreign operators, quite rightly, don't want to go there. It's too risky for their investment.
Right.
So.
Okay, thank you. And Kelvin, maybe you'd like to address it from a Cambodian perspective, and if you do have any other insights into the region.
So I think in the region, the Cambodian market is the most competitive and the most competition in this region. You cannot see this kind of number. 9 mobile operators is operating in the same country with only 50 millions of mobile population. So pretty sure the consolidation is happening in the day-to-day. But from my point of view, I think it's a difference between the deregulated country and also the regulated country. The regulated country like Myanmar, okay, they just deregulate, and they need some good investment to lay the infrastructure within the country that can give them a good quality and guaranteed quality and have a coverage to the population. But in Cambodia, I think they may or may not have their policy. That's why they issue a lot of license and let the private company to invest their money to the country and build the infrastructure. So you can see that no matter the quality and also the customer is benefiting from this kind of policy. And very simple, when you see that the broadband, let's say the broadband connection, maybe 1 to 2 years ago, Okay, the amount you have to pay is maybe $150 per Meg for just a connection for broadband. Now it's down to $12 per Meg. So the customer may not need to pay the installation charge.
Right.
For the fiber connection, you need to pay maybe 200 to 300 that kind of rate. So the company would like to compensate to capture the more customer base. And this is a good sign for the bandwidth. I can see the bandwidth requirement for international increasing 4 to 5 times within a year. Because the market is growing up.
Right.
Because more people can afford to get the service.
But are you saying the level, the intensity of competition in Cambodia is a good or bad thing? It's a kind of out of control.
I think to the operator, they don't have a strategy and don't have a good strategy and cannot compete in the market. It's not good.
Yeah.
But for some company who have a strong position with a good strategy, with a good how they play the game, then they will success in the long run. It's
Okay,
good.
so you're saying it's not spoiling it for all. Sometimes in markets where you get too much competition, everybody implodes and it drains profits and also...
So this is a free market. Okay, you have the choice to invest or you don't have a choice to invest. So it's all depends. Okay. So but the end user, the number of end user and the market is growing. You see, growing. You can see.
Okay, and so Sona, do you have anything to say? Laos is actually somewhere a little bit, people don't know so well, but I presume, the kind of level of development is also very low and you're just building it up.
Actually, we are quite new and we also learn from another. So I don't have much idea about it.
What's your main lesson that you've learned from your neighbours, watching the competition in Cambodia and watching how Myanmar's playing its opening up? What is the main lesson you've learned?
The main lesson, as you know, regarding this kind of business, we are under preparing, so we still learning, so I don't have a clue.
Oh, okay. Well, maybe this time next year you can give us more insight. And Dr. Danan, you're sitting in Thailand. It's actually at the heart of, as you said, this sort of consciousness of trying to be a hub for the region. So your overview would be very useful in how you see these uneven levels and what the opportunities are for your kind of group in, say, Myanmar.
In Thailand, maybe it's different from other countries. Like I said, that we have quite a strong regulatory issue, and we start from in this. We start to have the rigid regulatory bodies before maybe our neighboring country, and as far as I have seen. In Myanmar, everything just starts. So if you can do a very, very good foundation on the regulation, it's going to make the industry move forward very fast. So
what industry in Myanmar?
In Myanmar, yeah. So what we have learned, what Kevin just said, that about the infrastructure sharing. I mean, if you can do that. All operators can minimize the investment cost and can do and spend more money on taking care of the customer, so they can provide the service more effective to the customer. But in Thailand, it is very, very difficult to make this happen, even though our regulators have the infrastructure sharing rule, but due to the conflict of interest among the operators. I mean, if you do the retail, if you do retail space, and also you have, you are an incumbent, so you invest a lot in this kind of facilities. So it is very difficult for us to, unbundling this network element to other service provider. They just come and just lease it and go to the market at the same time as us. So usually we have some kind of trying to avoid this infrastructure sharing among operators.
Oh, that's very interesting. Thank you. Well, I'll just throw, if there's one question from the floor that anybody's burning to ask, please do. We've got time for one. No? Okay, well, with that, I'll just thank you all for, oh, sorry. Oh, please. And perhaps identify yourself so.
Hi, my name is Anthony from Telecom Radio Thailand. I would like to ask for you in terms of infrastructure and network points of view for Indochina, especially for Laos, Cambodia, and Myanmar. So, is it possible to set up like infrastructure that can share between like each other? Because I can see point of view for the network. So, for example, in Thailand. But Cambodia, we also trying to connect directly to Hong Kong and to make hub. So would it possible for all of us to combine together and in terms of possible business? So I don't know it's possible or not to share a network and to connect together and make just one country to be a hub and connect directly to international gateway would be quicker to that. So possible or not? Sorry.
Would you like to answer that, Dr. Donald?
Yeah, sure. I mean, I believe that everybody wants to connect with each other, but the way to do the routing for the customer or for each operator, depending on the cost. So whoever can provide the better cost, I mean, the routing is going to go in that direction. So as you may see that the one who win this game is like the one who can aggregate the traffic more. If anybody can get the traffic, so they can just control many things. They can control the cost and finally routing.
Thank you very much. And on that, I'd just like to thank you all. That was very interesting presentations, and thank you, everybody.
Thank you very much, Gwen, and to all. CAT Datacom, connecting dreams.